say that yesterday's initial drop of phase one of the Epstein files was a tremendous disappointment would be a tremendous understatement. It was abysmal. I mean, there were people that were legitimately depressed, texting me, sending me direct messages on X saying, "Dude, is this really it? Is this it? Is this it?" I mean, those were the initial responses, and I had at least half a dozen, if not more, people hitting me up for, "Hey, have you heard? Is there anything else coming out?" And at that point, I had heard nothing, and we still haven't heard much. We got a response from Kash Patel, FBI director. We had a harshly worded letter sent by Attorney General Pam Bondi, but otherwise, we haven't seen anything. And as I am recording this particular segment today, it is past the quote-unquote deadline for the Southern District of New York's FBI field office to have sent every last bit of information that they had to Pam Bondi's office. We don't know if that is the case, but I can tell you that, at least publicly, nothing has been announced. Nothing from Attorney General Bondi, nothing from Kash Patel. We'll see. I expect, by now, depending on when you're watching this, chances are we've heard something. But at least as of now, after the deadline, so far nothing has come from it. But here's the thing. See, there's always some good news. This is an opportunity, as long as we can recognize it. This is hopefully a wake-up call, not just to Pam Bondi. I know that she definitely got her wake-up call. Not just to Kash Patel. I don't think he really needed a wake-up call, but he got one anyway. We'll see if President Trump, what his stance on it is today, or maybe we won't. But at least as of now, we don't know where he stands on it. But the real wake-up call is for you and me. We needed to be made. We needed this. This was a black eye. Okay, this was a black eye on this the first really major black eye that we've had as an America First movement, if you will, and that's good. We needed it. Frankly, we've had too much winning lately, and if the only thing that we had to worry about was lawfare, and knowing that chances are a lot of, if not all of, the lawfare against the Trump administration was going to be rectified eventually in the Supreme Court, well, then we could very easily get complacent. And the reality is this is the lesson that we learned yesterday, is that we are at war. We are at war with our own deep state. They've been at war with us for a long time. Now, Lord willing, people are starting to wake up to that reality. I had posted something on X yesterday that got a little bit of traction. No, I'm sorry, that was this morning. It wasn't even yesterday. This was today. The days sort of meld together. And I want to read it to you. It's brief, but I want to read it to you because I think this is the message that needs to be out there. People need to be aware of what's really at stake and what's really going on, because I think if we're just worried, we got to learn more to talk about with Epstein and see who's on the list and see who we can go after and blah, 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 hold people accountable. That's all good and fine. But we have to acknowledge that this is a far greater situation, a dire situation that we're in. And to understand that, we have to recognize the state of the war itself. The biggest lesson to be learned by this opening salvo on the Epstein cover-up is that the deep state considers this to be a war. They're not going to lay down their arms and simply accept that their people aren't in charge anymore, which means they're going to fight to save, quote-unquote, their nation. Of course, what they consider to be their nation is the United States under the Globalist Elite Cabal, just as we, you and I, consider our nation to be the United States under the Constitution and the Lord our God. Glenn Beck noted on Thursday that this is a civil war. I agree with the sentiment, but I believe we're really in the beginning of a second revolutionary war. Two different groups believe the land, the laws, the resources, and the people of the United States belong to them. We are revolting against oppression. The deep state is defending their control over us. This is far bigger than the release of the Epstein files. It's about uncovering the vast conspiracy that has plagued their nation for decades, if not centuries. The Epstein files are a single thread in the tapestry of the blanket of control they hold over us. Tugging at it will unravel much, which is why the deep state is fighting back so hard. Unfortunately, they have control over the information that we seek, which means the only way to get to the truth is to come for it unexpectedly. With sufficient forewarning, they will destroy evidence, eliminate leaks, discredit potential whistleblowers, and initiate cover-up protocols that seem like the follies of fiction. There's a scene in the movie Enemy of the State in which a character, played ironically by the recently deceased Gene Hackman, blew up a building because Will Smith's character made a phone call. That's a fictional approximation of the degrees to which the deep state will go to keep their secrets from being exposed. We must stop seeing this as left versus right or Democrat versus Republican. It's been said enough lately to become cliche, but we really are in a battle of us versus them. It's a revolution against the powers that be, but instead of Americans versus the British, it's Americans versus the globalist elite cabal and their deep state proxies. There are patriots on the inside who are itching to help. We have to believe that because the alternative, which is complete control by the deep state, would mean that the Trump administration will be unable to uncover the whole truth. Pam Bondi indicated there are those at SDNY who blew the whistle. Let's hope and pray that these patriots are willing and able to do more to preserve the truth before it's purged. This is a revolutionary war. It isn't just a worldly battle. This is a spiritual battle in every way that counts. We aren't fighting against people, powerful people clinging to their secrets. We're fighting against a literal cabal that has embedded itself into the foundation of this nation. It has spread its tentacles across the globe. Only by tremendous efforts of our warriors, prayers from the people, and the grace of God do we stand a chance of winning this war. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That, of course, is Ephesians 6:12. The Epstein files are the opening salvo for a long battle in a vast war, and so far, we're losing. But the counteroffensive has started. We'll see what happens next. Pray for America and for those willing to free it. I don't know how many patriots, true patriots, are in the FBI. I don't know if there are any people who have infiltrated the Trump administration. That was the biggest challenge in his first term. It wasn't just the lower level people like Eric Charmella, the Ukraine whistleblower. It was also Eric Charmella's boss, H.R. McMaster's. It was people like Bill Barr, who was supposed to be helping and who pretended to help for a while until all of a sudden he stopped. It was people like Mike Pence, who pretended to be on Trump's side while subverting him at every turn. Hopefully, we have eliminated those people. Hopefully, there are no other people, at least at the higher levels, that can truly subvert the Trump administration's agenda. I don't think there are. I haven't seen anybody notable just yet, but we'll keep watching. With that said, we do know that at the mid-levels, middle managers, lower levels, there are plenty of people, probably a majority of people in government who vehemently oppose President Trump's plan, who vehemently opposed everything that he and Elon Musk and Tom Homan and Pam Bondi and Marco Rubio, they are opposing our government from within. So when we say it's us versus them, we have to acknowledge that us, you and me, and President Trump, and hopefully Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, we are outnumbered. But that's okay, because I firmly believe that if the United States is to continue as a nation, then it will be because God has decreed it. We don't deserve it. We should have failed long ago. Our sins as a nation have far superseded those of even Sodom and Gomorrah. We should be under judgment, but we're not. So that tells me that, at least for now, God has a plan for us, which is why we must pray and we must continue to fight the good fight. Just because we had the setback yesterday doesn't mean we're not going to have glorious and amazing victories today or tomorrow or whenever. The key here is that if we see something, we have to say something. We've used that phrase for 2 decades now, over 2 decades, as it pertains to terrorists. Well, now we have to assume that the quote-unquote terrorists that we're trying to expose are the people within our own government who are doing everything they can to keep the Epstein files from coming out, to keep Elon Musk and Doge from being able to cut government waste and to improve government efficiency, who want to stop ICE and Tom Homan from deporting criminal illegal aliens. The enemies are here. They're around us. This feels like, at first glance, it feels like a civil war, but it's not. This really, truly is a revolutionary war. It's a war between two forces who believe that they should be in control of the United States of America. I, for one, am on the side of freedom. I'm on the side of the Constitution. And I'm on the side of God. I'm not saying that we need a theocracy. We cannot have a theocracy. Not in the United States, not anywhere in the world. There cannot be a righteous theocracy until Jesus Christ comes down to rule. But, with that said, we can and should hold God as the centerpiece, the source of everything that we have, everything that we hold dear here in the United States of America. Because I assure you this, our enemies within the Globalist Elite Cabal, the Uniparty swamp, the deep state, the powers and principalities, they do not hold God as central to their ideology. And they will take this nation down to the pits of hell if we don't stop them. Please go to jdrucker.com/find, jdrucker.com/find. You'll find all of the various places where I publish my work, my podcasts, my videos, my socials, everything like that. jdrucker.com/find.